We supposed to see it tomorrow? I can't see it.
On Twitch, it should be there.
Oh, nice. You look like some hacker sitting in a pitch black room.
Let's do this. Alright, boy. Let's see how Shadow does it with the Infinity Stones. You ready?
You, I shall fight.
I'll take that rematch if you want it.
Doctor Strange. Our combined potential is unlimited.
Henry, you there? Yo, mic check.
Only one team will be left standing.
Oh, I know this happened. Fucking Discord did me dirty. Henry, you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright.
Ready.
Ready for a minute.
Fight!
How you good with that?
Here's one more. Blade for Christ. Open the floodgates of lightning, vanquish my enemy. I got this. Race of Hunter, here's one more. Blade burn bright. Race of Hunter, here's one more. Blade burn bright. Race. Flames of the ball team. Sorcerer supreme. Harogan.
Vamos se favor.
Open the floodgates of magic! Blade, burn lightning, vanquish my enemy! Flame from the boat, lightning, vanquish my enemy! The power of creation! Blades burn bright!
No way! Ah, you got me with that shit! Ah, you got me! Oh, not the way I wanted to open this up. No, I missed the first part of this, but it's all good. Got follow in here.
For people, for justice, I will fight!
I should get kicked out the neck.
Huh? You got lucky.
I'll check about message. They got like 33 wins.
Hmm? I killed y'all.
That's how you have like 33 wins.
I hope you enjoyed that. That's your last one.
No, I was trying to focus.
You were focused. I wasn't paying attention. I don't pay attention to your ass.
Thanos. No one is my equal. Doctor Strange. Our combined potential is unlimited. The battle begins.
Okay.
Ready. Fight. Titans to see. Reality Stone.
On the ass, huh?
Flames of the ball team! Sorcerer supreme! Reality Stone!
How'd you hit me with that? I'm blocking you.
Blade, burn, break some hunger. Here's one more. Transition. Blade. Blade, burn bright. Blade, burn. Bush of Clomac. I am Agamotto. Bush of Clomac. Counter. Cut the bit. I am Agamotto. For peace. Touch never counter. Titans to see. Reality Stone. Nullify. Titans to see. Doctor Strange. Spectacular. Great some honor. Here's one more.
Damn it, it took me this time the fuck out of that.
Reality Stone. Danger. You're all back. Doctor Strange. Mystic sword. Stylish. I am Agamotto. I must end this. Sorcerer supreme. Anna. Fight real.
Good
I hate
match.
that reality shit.
I will take everything by my hand.
Oh, this is too much.
Don't know how long the count stays up for. Let's see.
Yeah.
My haters are plenty. It's all good. How you guys doing? Any of you here from our new new Twitter Discord? That was pretty fun tonight. Had a great convo with everybody. I heard there was some fun stuff.
It was a lot of fun stuff. You missed it.
Anyone who gets in our way.
Your mama, you should consider this an honor. Who will prevail?
That should be interesting.
I heard what happened to you on Twitter, Shadow. Sucks.
Huh?
I said I heard what happened to you on Twitter.
It is what it is, you know?
You got too quick.
Who are you?
Ready.
They always attacking.
Fight.
Get him down! Just warming up! Destroy! Get him back! Get him back! Hey, come on, Greg! Get him down! Why don't we just break you? Hey, come on, Greg! Where are you going? Why don't we just break you? Hey, come on, Greg!
I don't know how you keep doing that. Move goes right through my block.
Dodge this.
Snap you up! Get him wet! Get him back! You look tasteful!
Dodge this.
We're gonna mess you up! Why don't we just
Alright.
You try that cheesy ass song with me, I'll wreck you, boy.
I'm about to bring it.
The first one is a fluke! From the shadows, bitch.
About to bring out the
How many of you guys played the Gold Cycle Fractal that Kazo posted through winter? I'll call it out like that. Fear Cycle got him. I think you need to go back to the dojo where we're gonna meet KJ.
What the fuck?
Let's take it back to the dojo, son.
Ryu, I shall fight.
Ryu wants to break even.
Dante.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Believe. Fight. Drive.
Alright. Wish me luck, Nebulans.
Shit you got.
Ready. Fight.
Combat.
Holy shit. That was nasty. Damn, you cheese ball. Damn, you caught me with all that.
Oh, come on, man.
No way. That was a comeback from the century, son. Revenge is a dish best served cold, my Twitter friends.
Good fight.
What you know about me? That's like PPT when they catch you on the low. Plunge protection team, what you know about me?
Yeah.
From the shadows, bitch.
It's time for my bull run.
What happened? No bull run for you. No bull run. No suit for you. Oh, that's pretty intense. We had some good battles.
Yeah, it's good because you're winning.
No, you won the first one. What you talking about? It's a good fight so far. I didn't call you out. We did good in that. It was a good fight. See what else I could put in here.
I never miss. Count on it.
Winter Soldier.
Steve says I should trust you. I'll try.
Who will prevail?
I got the Winter Soldier and Captain Precision. Let's do this. These boys are meant for me. I can't use Hawkeye for shit. Using your best. Let's see what you got. I'm mixing it up a little.
Ready.
You can get out of a dick riding Captain, you know.
Right on the bar. Get him away. Winter Soldier.
goes through everything, huh?
Not yet. I'll bring you direct danger. Direct danger. Down. Emerson. Here we go. Right on the mark. Gimlet. No place.
Dang, cheesy motherfucker, you need to pick somebody else to stop dick riding this bullshit. I'm not on my best guys anymore, you're staying on the same guys. I could do that too, but it'd be a boring ass match if you keep doing that. Because that's why I'm going back now. You are dick riding the fuck out of this.
Down the sight. Down the sight. Danger. I got danger. Just leave me alone! Down the sight! Down the yes! Hold that thought! No matter how hard you try, you can't escape from my arrows! Now that's what you call air support!
If you're gonna stay on them guys, I gotta stay on my guy. I thought you might mix it up, you're just playing the same shit over and over.
Oh, I'm about to pick somebody different.
Huh?
I'm about to pick somebody different, like sword character.
You've been only picking this. I can be my guy, I can wreck that crew with my dude, but I don't want to keep playing the same guys.
Yeah, that's how I really play. Pick like totally different characters after each fight.
Ryu, I walk the path of the Hado.
Don't worry, we won't eat you. But now,
I'm picking speed character.
I'll get it.
Battle without limits.
That's a good matchup. Venom Spider-Man.
Ready. Fight.
ta-da! We come up! You taste it! Destroy! Get him back! We come up, friends! Get him down! Why don't we just break
What is that?
You look thirsty! Where are you going? See? Isn't this fun? You look tasty! Have a nice trip! Get him down! Why don't we just break you? Danger!
Spider-Man.
You!
Counter.
I have no idea how I got you with that.
Nice move. I don't know how you got me there either.
Reality stone.
Guess what? We got me. Now we're mad!
Now's my chance. This webbing's custom made. Tensile strength formula. Sorry, trade secret.
Get out and go! Get him bang! Get out and stop bang! You look tasty. Where are you going? Get him bang!
God!
No way.
Now's my chance. This webbing's custom made. Tensile strength formula. Sorry, trade secret. You never gives up.
Won't even give you this?
Here we go.
Oh, she knows my block. You got lucky. You got lucky. I want a rematch on that. Run that back. You got lucky, you know
Your
it.
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I shall fight.
Don't worry. We won't eat you. But now.
Battle without limits. Ready. Fight. First attack. Yes. Formation. Spider-Man.
Take this. Football.
Get him bang! You!
Spider-Man.
When Spider senses tingle with great powers comes a great beat down. How's that for a web slinging smack?
Guess what?
Get ready.
Where are you going? See? Isn't this fun? You look tasty. Where are you going?
Spider cannon. Left swing.
You look tasty. Where are you going? Why don't we just break you? You look tasty. Get him ground. See?
God.
Isn't this fun? You!
When did that hit you? That was fucking ridiculous.
Get him back, you!
Wow, that's how.
Reality Stone.
Here we go. Let's fly.
Reality Stone.
When Spider senses tingle.
Reality Stone.
Reality stone. Let's fly.
Alright, rerun.
Why is that on my screen?
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Good fight.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. What up, Twitter? It's late night. Shadownomics. I hijacked Winter's set. Motherfucker don't let me on the TV, so I decided to pop in here when he wasn't paying attention, you know? They can't block me out forever.
Nobody can't.
The truth will set you free. Are we running that back?
I shall fight.
Oh, we bet.
Don't worry, we won't eat you. For now.
I messed up my
One
feeling.
team will be
You took
left
Captain you
standing.
back at this cheesy shit? Alright. You cheesy.
No, dude.
Alright. I got something for Cap. Strider, I don't play many people play Strider, so I don't know him so good.
Ready. Fight.
You look tasty.
Captain America.
You done? No, you came here to do that cheesy shit?
Guess what? Get him back. Get him back. You. We'll help you up. Get him wet. Here.
Reality Stone. Reality Stone. Level 1.
Get him back. You. Get him back. You look tasty. Where are you going? Where are you going?
Oh my god.
You got pounded out.
You were not a challenge. You must more worthy prey.
I gotta close that gap.
That's what she said.
Sick.
Trust from other people.
No one is my equal.
Okay.
Got that cheese ball Captain America shit, boy. Good lord.
Doctor Strange.
Together we shall open the door of truth.
I'm gonna go all purple. Let's see what we get.
Only one team will be left standing.
Some red. Yeah, some red.
Oh, man. I want to build these. I got the gun good. And Nova, I feel like he should be better than he is. He's weird. He's where the chick in the next Infinity Wars is gonna come from. I think she has something to do with him. Or gets her power from him or something. He's the original, I think, Captain Marvel or something.
You're mad.
Ready.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Fight.
Insurrection's in. Doctor Strange. Great. Here's one more. Race of honor. Blaze of the mountain. Race of honor. Reverend grip. Shadow. Right here. Nova. I need to see. Flame for motif. One shot. Flame for race and honor. Flame of the motif. Bulls of Flowpack. Race of our bulls of Flowpack. Agamotto will bulls of Flowpack. The power of this. Flames of the power of the light. Sending flame shot. Race of honor. Here's one more. Transition. Nova. Electric pulse. Flame right. Electric pulse. Give up. Elevation key. Well done. Power move. Well done. Flag ready. Grenade launcher. Out there.
That was pretty sick. I missed it. It didn't happen.
Absolute power. Final excellent. I must end this.
Yeah, that sucked. I had a good time. Damn, I can't get a hit in. Damn, you got me with that shit. Cheesy motherfucker. Oh, you cheesy out, you motherfucker. Run that back. You play nothing but cornball shit, dog. That's all you do is corny shit in the corner. I can run that tree, but I have to play the same guys. You stay on some guys you can always do that with. I tried everybody. I'll run that back on you. Let's go. And that's all you're gonna do, nigga. I'm gonna play you crazy as hell right now because of that. That's all you're gonna do. I'm gonna corner trap the shit out of you for that shit. You got nothing else but one cheese trick with every character.
Hey.
That's all you do. I'm gonna do the same thing to you right now.
I walk the path of the Hano.
Dante.
This should be a breeze.
Battle without limits. Ready. Fight.
Right there. No way out. Stick around. Get out of there. Settling laser, fire! Light him up, bring the pain, bring the pain!
I've never seen that before.
Nova! Reality drone! Grip! Dead point! Dead point! Here's another takedown! Yeah! Not good! Give up! Take it! Good! Give up! Good!
What just happened right there?
Reality show.
It's all or nothing! Take it! Not yet!
Aim here, right?
Launching rocket! Stand out! Stick around! Leader! Three!
Level one.
Wow. You
Reality Stone! Haruken! Shoryuken!
No way, go with that shit.
Great.
Jackpot! I win again.
I don't think anybody knows plays Mortal Kombat anymore.
Just do that.
Hmm?
Do any people coming in the Twitch?
I don't know who's in Twitch. Just check out some charts and see what's good out there.
Oh shit, tell me right.
Don't you guys remember last time we were in here? No, we had this up. I think we put the zone on there for you. Where the bottom of that could be. So your gold cycle came in where it's supposed to. Your bottom came in when it's supposed to. The market's acting normal for a crash cycle. It did exactly like it should. Whether that's the final low, you know, it's a good point for the season. Still makes him take some time to work himself out of there. Let's do something here with the Discord. Let's see. What does this do again? That sounds crazy. Crazy shit. Just having some problems right now. I think Discord is about to kill this thing. Yeah, it's having some real problems. Let's see. Trying to adjust the chapter one sec. Oh, you should adjust the chapter. Nope, not working. One sec. What's this thing doing? What's going on? Is anybody still in Discord? Are you still there? Alright, I'm trying to fix something right now on the stream. So, OBS is acting crazy as hell right now. Alright, let's see if we can fix this. Alright, it just popped up. Alright. Alright. Trying to fix the stream. So, how'd you guys watch and how'd you guys do in the most recent bounce off the lows? You guys got a play on that? Anybody? Anybody dodge the dump? Catch the bounce. Do both. Dash. Nice. LTC. Yeah, Beckerman, that was the play. Yeah, I know Shadownomics is a private. I'm Shadownomics. We got ETZ. So yeah, new year, new things. So as you've seen, the old chain, Winternomics decided to integrate Twitter into a live voice channel. They thanks ZD, glad you dig it. They decided to take Twitter out of the microblogosphere and put it into voice. And they had one of the most phenomenal blockchain conversations ever tonight. Future of communication is to revert to where we came from, to speak again, and be able to interact like this, to go directly to the source of information that you want to hear from, and not have a buffer between you like CNBC does, right? CNBC creates a pundit with an opinion that will pick what analyst you get to hear from. That situation, that's all kinds of wreck, right? Because the pundit's opinion is going to pick the analyst, which ultimately means that an objective persona is not going to appear to give you any kind of real guidance. You're going to get just more of the same. And that's going to be sheep fucking sheep and wreck after wreck, right? That's what we have. So what Twitch actually does, it lets us take information and make it a la carte. iTunes, you can go and buy the song off the CD you like. You can pick what you want. You can pick the analyst you like. You can pick the cooking show you like. You can pick what you want, and you don't have to buy all the other bullshit. That is what's coming now, where the consumer has a choice to not be fed garbage by people that have an agenda, right? You can come here and you can find what you want, and if it's not what you want, you can choose something else until you find what fits you. And that's the way the world's going to go. You know, Uber is a la carting vehicles. Airbnb is a la carting ability to stay in places you'd never own, in places in the world you'd never live. And Twitch is doing the same thing. It's democratizing information. It's allowing us to meet each other, and there's no buffer between me and you. We can have an honest conversation. That is where, the future is heading, and peak social has hit. That's one of the reasons that we look at the market and we talk about what we do. Let's look at Twitter or even Facebook. That is not healthy. But Zuckerberg, we know, dumped like $13 billion of stock back in March. When Winter's cousin Kaz decided to fling a warning out here, right? So back in March, he knows something's up, and he pulls a Charlie Lee and he dumps, assloads of his Facebook because he knows Armageddon's coming to his doorstep. Investigations aside, there's 5 billion humans in the world that really Facebook can target that are not, outside undeveloped nations that don't have access to the internet yet, and he's got half of them. His ability to grow is really dead, and the kids coming behind us, they don't give a shit about this world anymore. Ultimately, technology was supposed to make things efficient. If you guys think writing messages for hours to people to get across one simple idea is efficient, then you have another thing coming. Our kids don't want to do that shit. They know it's stupid. They're going to talk to each other again, just like we're talking to each other again. And tonight we covered more information than I could put on Twitter in a year. That's where the information is going to go, and the people that use it are going to beat the people that don't. To be able to talk about markets, to be able to talk about assets, to be able to talk about these concepts and go through it in a speedy fashion, timely, makes better use of both of our times. I can hear what you guys think, and I can figure out what is coming next, all in 1 hour versus days and days of threads. Beckerman, Shadownomics strat last night in waves and circles is blowing my mind. Okay. So what did you guys think about that? What did you learn from that thread on waves, circles, and straight lines? I didn't put that out there for fun, so what'd you learn? There's nothing different about any of those things, right? a circle and a straight line is a matter of perspective, and that should be mind-blowing to you when you think about the next time you draw a trend line on that chart. Right? Understanding price means understanding the dimension that price exists in, and nobody really thinks about those things. But a straight line is really just a circle at the point of infinity. And when you understand the dimension above describing the dimension below, it really makes a hell of a fucking difference when you start to use some of these technical tools and you think about them, different ways. Nobody would ever dream that these two things are the same thing, but they very much are. And how to make sense of that when you put, a cross section of a sphere, which is what a circle is, and you put it with a line, which is the intersection of a circle with infinity, and you try to triangulate a two-dimensional representation of price, you might be missing a lot of fucking information about where value in this chart is. And that's what I wanted to give you a way to think about, is like perspective does matter. And what you think you're looking at isn't necessarily all of the information that's available. That's true in almost any system. Price is fractal, and the amount of information most people glean to make their decisions is less than 1% of what's all that's available to them. The emotional information of the participants is here. The guy who's a dumbass, the guy who's a genius, the guy who never touched it, the guy who's all into it late. Everything's on this chart, and velocities of capital in and out are on this chart. There's so much more here than a red and green candle. And that was supposed to be a thought experiment to help you guys think about some things you'd never even dreamed were the way they actually are. Followed that up with some higher level abstract math that was to kind of show you, mathematical representations of dimensions as they would be perceived by a being in the dimension below. And that is a way to think about information in a dimension away from you. Which is mostly how we exist in the world. We don't see much information at all. We know that even when it compared to bees, we don't see the full spectrums of light. And information is power, and if you're missing most of it, you're really powerless. So I wanted you to kind of think about some of the things you've never given thought to, and realize it's all sitting right in front of you, and it never crossed your fucking mind. So that was the point of that. Seems like it worked. Something clicked way tighter entries. Okay, I learned that I got a lot of stuff. My porn is for someone who is on nebulas like me, who's not nebulic. It seems daunting to understand this shit on my own, and there's so much info that it is hard to differentiate between the crap and the legit info. You mean the crap and the legit info on my wall, or you mean encrypted Twitter in general? I don't really have wasted space on my walls. Everything I post has a point. But clarify that real quick for me. Everybody's got a different point of view. There's a lot of different methodologies. I don't have the only one that works. I think the one that we have is the most accurate one that's out there when you benchmark with empirical data of public analysts who has a track record and who doesn't. I've been doing this for a long time, and there isn't a public analyst with the stuff that we have public on the blog, and that's just fact of the matter. There are methods that work, and all I can tell you is be objective. A guy tells you, hey, hodl this coin, and it goes down. He tells you hodl again, and it goes down again. The second time it's your fault that you're caught in it. So empirical data would help most people. Many of the guys out there that ran people into a ditch gave you a shit ton of information ahead of time they're going to run into a ditch before they got a chance to do it. And that is, many people overlook that because they wanted something for themselves, so they wanted it to be true. I looked at the thread with Ronnie and Dig, and that thread's eye-opening in so many dimensions. Not only did he pick a letter that was favorable for him among the people that want to fucking, throw him off a bridge for what's going on with what that coin turned out to be. But the person in that letter openly said that, they'd buy more Dig if they had money, but they're out of their $150,000, which is their life savings. So the person in the letter is just as bad as the person that shilled in the garbage, because he's willing to buy a scam just to make money if he hadn't lost all his money in the scam. That's next level insane. And when you look at coin fiscation, when the guy shilling the coin is, of low moral character, and the person he's shilling it to is of the same character, they're both the cancer. And that's what happens when the market fully heals itself and regulators come in. They're going to cut away the bad parts of the market. You can step back, and if you take greed out of it, look objectively at it. I mean, a guy like that should never have showed anything to anybody. His attitude is boiler room, 101. And Wall Street doesn't like that aggressive kind of behavior. Neither do regulators in pushing, unsuspecting investors into crazy things like he did, without even doing the due diligence to recognize who he was dealing with and what he was dealing with. It was all kinds of irresponsible. Beckerman, waiting for the binary fractal thread to come out. That's a training product element, not product, logic. That deals with the rule of motion and how things in the universe actually can go from A to B. Understanding, the nature of wave logic and particle physics, believe it or not, has a big part in price TA. But yeah, that's the fun stuff. That you're Nebula Rect. Wait your turn. We'll get there soon. I know Winter talked to you guys and said I would talk to you. So Nebula Rect is pretty fascinating. The Nebula program is over. As far as taking on trainees and things like that, it takes an extraordinary amount of time and actually pieces my health every time we go through it. At this age, sitting stationary for 4 and 5 hours at a time isn't like the best thing I can do, so it does take a ridiculous effort to do. That larger scale type program, which was only like 90-something people that were in the last one, and we ended up having to cut away probably 15% of that for moles and trolls and fund managers that creeped in. CNBC anchors partners snuck into the room because he didn't know what he was doing and promised me he would make a hedge fund out of my idea with $50 million. I'm like, yeah, I'll take your word on that. So I guess once he got ejected, somebody got salty about that. But I feel the way we feel is that if you're a fund manager and you've managed to convince people to give you $50 million of your money, you shouldn't really be in the room of a dude dressed up in a fucking mask learning how to trade to go back and impress your people with $50 million. That sounds stupid to me, and I'm the person in the fucking mask. Like, that's just retarded. I don't know. It's the craziest shit ever. So what Nebula Rect has done that's really fascinating, that's really motivating, is that they've amassed a crew that decided to sit down and study the logic we have and put together the trading logic and back engineer it. I think that's proactive and awesome. That's the kind of effort that let me dig around for 20 years to back engineer things that I thought were valuable and then evolve things that I thought made sense. That's a 1% attitude. And of all the people that have followed me over the years, it's very few who've ever sat down and do that. I've met like 3 guys that taught themselves to trade from the blog. And then these guys who amassed a crew and began to educate themselves and follow on what we did and just be proactive, not wait for somebody to tell them what to do. I don't really believe in that. I don't believe in spoon people shit. If you guys ever followed us, you realize that we don't, we hate doing that. We want you to make the decision for yourself. We want to see you do something useful. Everybody can sit there and put their hand out, but very few can, go out there and solve the puzzle. And solving the puzzle is the whole fun. So we want to see people solve the puzzle, and in doing that, if you get good at solving the puzzle, we want to see how you think, because we can add something of value the way we do it, and we can get better together. That is our natural way of evolution. So we interview to find the most progressive mindsets and the people that can actually be the most mentally flexible to a new idea. And everything we do is geared towards the habit that makes us as accurate as we are. In watching what Nebula Rect did, it was so impressive that these guys sat down, began to hit trades that were in, catch the Tesla that were in, and it's like, holy shit, their entry logic is fucking ridiculous, and they've never been here. That's the guy I want to train. That's so crazy. That's the best proof of anything. Forget an application being sent in, show me how to find money. Show me a person that's hungry and wants to do better. You can make that guy a fucking rock star, and it takes no effort on my end. Those guys already have the effort, and I already have that pre-screened. So I'm going to open a Discord channel for you guys, and we're going to have a talk and see if you want to come in and that small crew you've organized, your habit, your Discord research channel, all the stuff you've built to allow yourselves to, amass information and start to, use it. It's phenomenal. So if you would like to, I will complete your trading, Skywalker. That works, right? I can do that in the shadows here. Do I expect BTC price decline? You want some like specific, tell me what to buy now? Didn't I just tell you I don't spoon people, shit like that? Do you want me to tell you if you should sell right now? Do you want me to tell you if you should buy right now? I don't do that. I give you the information so you can make a decision. That's how I do it. What up, Dr. D? Cool stat magnet. So we'll talk more about that and the details of it. And yeah, you guys already have one hell of a head start compared to people that walked in the door. You definitely have the mindset in order to pick that up the way you did. It's not easy. I know I don't make it easy, but it's very impressive. Everybody in Nebula was watching that. It was pretty fun to see. So I think that's the best thing. Everybody can't learn a habit like this because most people don't have the ability to sustain and be mechanical over time. It's really easy to, you know, revert back to the way you were. And trying to teach people that sustain a mechanical habit, trading is actually quite boring when it's done right. And most people don't want to keep making it boring. They're in there to like win a Lambo. So the guys that, you know, have put together and done the research to create Nebula Rex as a crew, they actually take applications now for people that want to study under them because they've shown such proficiency in stock options, the newest guy, and, you know, trading waves and how catching the knife with us and some of those big moves you saw on Twitter. Really impressive shit. And going to the people that are trying to bluff me, that are from other crews, that are trying to fool their way into my channel, it's become, you know, it's something you can't replicate. You just flat out can't duplicate accuracy. And guys that are out there putting in the work, that kind of person isn't going to be the scumbag troll that wants to find an easy meal. I can't trust people's words in many events that have happened in my channels and outside my channels. You know, many people who swear I changed their lives double-crossed us. And people are people, they do what they do, and it is what it is. I cannot manage people based on what they say they will do, but I definitely can tell the difference in a habit. You know, I evaluate behavior and prices in different asset classes, and I can tell you that very few people decide to sit down and make themselves better on their own accord without being shoved through the door to do it. That's what I'd need and be interested in trading again. I don't think I'm interested in doing any of the applications that came in Nebula. I don't know how to vet those and find people that are of character, that are, you know, motivated to make themselves better, because unless I find that guy, we don't get any better. It doesn't do us any good to drag somebody that's got a fucking, you know, 99% habit and try to force him to be a robot. That's really hard. But somebody that wants to fucking take it to the next level, you don't have to do shit. You just put the information in front of them and they'll consume it. And we get to learn more, you know, going through it faster with a person that's really engaged like that. Having to like make somebody figure this is worth something just because they send in an email. I mean, that's half of the damn interview process. That was crazy. It was like every 1 out of 6 or 8 people was, you know, passable. That's insane. I think that hit rate told me that that's not a viable metric to screen people. It was anonymous. It's half of the trolls. It's greedy people. This logic is part of like an evolution of a habit that I've had since I was a kid. I like solving puzzles. I draw my charts in comics that look like my Marvel comics. It's supposed to be fun to kind of like tell a story of the market's people as it unfolds, because the market's just a story going from left to right of people and their bullshit, right? That's the way I look at it, you know. And we read these charts in our groups, you know, like exactly like that, like stories, because that's what they are. You know, and understanding prices is a big part of understanding the people and what makes up the story. You know, you look at something like this, and the reason you identify levels is because you want to know where people get ejected. You want to know that somebody got stop ran, you know, and ejected out of this wick, and where you're going to deposit your cheap coins you got from this pleb. You know, you're going to have to catch somebody slipping that's going to fall for buying this when it recoils to give you a lower high to kill his ass. Oh shit, wrong tool. But you read the story like it goes from left to right, you know? Who'd you get here? What's gonna happen to that guy? You know, under this level, you got one more trap move to fool somebody that this level may have failed twice. And clearly there's distribution running in this thing. If you look at it, look at the volume. Remember I told you price and volume are the things you watch. And right at this moment, see that the volume stays significantly higher, right? This is notably different than everything preceding it. So this is your distribution area. And as they wick somebody through here and fool people into possibly buying and Facebook's not dead, and Zuckerberg unloads into this distribution area his $13 billion, you gotta imagine he's a 1%er. Other people like him probably did it too. And this area is full of people, you know, getting the fuck out. You brick the fucking market, you eject everybody who's trapped above this initial level that you had your first stop run on and your second check. And then you have the apocalypse happen, and now you have a completely different set of people catching the knife on everybody that just got wrecked. Now you're looking for final distribution on the way out in what amounts to a fucking colossal bear flag. And you run the trend structure update, you wait for that thing to fail. It fails on a massive gap, guess what level it arrives back? The place you fucked everybody the first time. And you interact on that level, you wait for a swing, and you play it accordingly when it leaves. But knowing what levels to watch and what the story is as it unfolds will give you pertinent levels that matter later. And you won't be really lost when you learn to read it like the story of people as it unfolds. That's the way we treat it. So in my comics, try to, like, you know, write the story out the way it plays out with people. That's why we have a place for grandma and the plebs and whatnot. You know, what places are those people going to shit a brick is what you want to figure out. And you'll figure that out if you read the story. You kind of know where that place should be. So I look at price in a way that's more like, you know, a story of people, because that's what I think it is. Everything that happens on here includes the guy that didn't buy, the guy that did buy, the guy that bought late, the guy that didn't know what the fuck this was but bought anyway, the smart guy who caught everybody's fucking cheap coins on the low, and the dumbass who bought all those fucking shitty ass coins on the high. All these people are on this graph, and understanding how to see all of them is part of the, you know, understanding price. Indicators that you can add to this, stochastics, MACDs, RSIs, all that stuff is a derivative of that information in fixed look-back periods. It's really limiting. And if you get used to reading a 14-period RSI, you know, this waveform is dynamic in all time frames. Sometimes 14 periods is spot on, and sometimes it's not the right time frame. And why and how to recalibrate for that is something you want to understand unless you understand the story of people that makes this up. That's really long-winded. I hope we got that. So yeah, we'll talk about that, and I think it'll be something good. You know, in our rooms, we always learn from the newer guys and the questions that they ask, and how your approach is, and what assumptions you have. At the end of the day, you know, markets go up and down, and there's no assumption that's really worth its salt in there. You just have to understand how to move with what it does, and not get hard and fast on what you believe. You know, belief is the death of intelligence. The second you can condition reality to belief that you can accept, you more than likely deleted a lot of fucking information to the contrary. And that is why being objective in markets is valuable. You can't sit there and say, well, I believe that we're going to have a recession, or I believe that Bitcoin's going to kill the banks. Give a fuck what you believe. If I can't use that shit tomorrow and figure out where my stop at is, I don't give a shit to hear it. And that's what people sit there trading is their bullshit. That shit means nothing, you know. They may call my cousin and the hard fork a fucking asshole, but they're just dealing with ones and zeros, not dealing with your fucking beliefs. That's nonsense. Can't put that in a bank account, can't pay bills with it. No one gives a fuck. In 10 years, no one cares what you thought. Did you win? People care about that. So, at any rate, that was a lot of stuff. Where were you guys at? Let's see. Do you expect? Alright, I said that. Come on. Saying you come straight on. Copy. Yeah, 20 years of involvement, we're not always that precise. You want to see some funny shit on Shadownomics? Go find his ass in stock twits and look at the early fucking nonsense he used to put out there when he's trying to figure out why the market's going after him. It's funny. There's a couple, I mean, he has some good shit on there too, but there's definitely a couple times to get in train wreck and be like, alright, motherfuckers, what the hell is happening? But, you know, it's taken a while to get it to where it makes sense and the price makes sense and the logic can show where things should be, and it pans out, and you have empirical data to support that your logic is at least closer to the truth than most people's in understanding what it is. I mean, you'll never have truth, but you can approach it really, really fucking close, you know? And that's the reality of having infinite information in finite systems. You can never have it all, but you can get really, really close, like 99.99999%. Close enough. So, Facebook story on that level, you know, there's a story on that level, why I pay attention to it over there and why it'd be something later when you gap. And you'll understand how to figure that out, you know. You go over and you look at price and Let's see. Let's find the area we are in the past. We slid over. What are we on? Got an hourly chart. Let's see if we can find something meaningful. Oops, Facebook. To what point in time am I? I'm in August of 2018. A gap. Let's just zoom in and fly back in time. Let's look at a story back in time on Facebook. Let's see what we got. I don't know if it's fucking OBS or what, but this fucking browser, everything looks like it's gonna fucking eat it when I'm streaming on this thing. It was fine a minute ago, now it's tripping. So big old fat gap right there. That was probably earnings if I had to guess. Let me turn it on, we'll see. What's your problem? Get some events and see what made the gaps on the chart. So events, show earnings. Yeah, so that's earnings. So earnings gaps all over the place. So you know when you get these, he had a lot of upside surprises on his way up the mountain. So 27th of April, 52 cents versus, doesn't have his estimate, but he pretty much surmised he blew out earnings to cause gaps of that magnitude on Facebook. So huge volume spikes, big moves. Always pay attention to gaps, they definitely matter. That range is pretty sideways off an earnings play, so longer it goes with the kind of news event that happened there, you know, look at this guy. From this earnings to this earnings was like a range. This is a much tighter range. So as the story goes, I like that range. That range is something that will probably be important later. Why? Huge amount of event triggers the area, and that area shockwaves and churns for significant periods of time. We call that a shockwave. That'll come back to be something you give a shit about, especially the longer it sits in the area. So, as a bookmaker goes, the whole area matters, not just the place to jump to. Most people think that's the thing, so we'll mark that spot. That'll matter later. And he'll trade around in there, and he'll trade through this area with good significance, right? Tagging the center of it. And he'll come back there every time. It'll be a play that we can make a play in that range, in and out of it, whichever way he comes back. Just because of the amount of playership that's going to be involved in an earnings play in a gap of that magnitude. And the fact that it held a tight range, it takes a lot of fucking capital to keep it in a range like this to aggregate a position. So that one means more than this, you know, this nonsensical whipsaw shit over here. There are things in there that mean something, but I can tell you right now that that level means something later. So let's see, another gap, earnings, not really meaningful, faded almost the whole thing, runs a version of the same thing north of it. Let's see. See, look at this move down here underneath the zone generated from earnings. Somebody got ejected. That's what that story would tell you, right? That's the kind of move that fucking absolutely screws somebody out of all their fucking chips. You know, gap down, recoil, and then another gap down, finishing on the lows. This is somebody, see the amount of volume on the lows? Somebody shit their pants down here. On this gap down, this is probably somebody getting ejected on the gap opening underneath that level, if you look at it, and the volume fades, so they kill somebody down there. So, let's see. The initial reaction is gap, recoil, wick, recoil. So they gap through this. That area, that level, if we ever see that again, 112.54, probably be something to watch the way they gap through it, because they gap back on the way too. So this basically is like, you know, an island bottom. Some people call it that, island reversal, but somebody's just absolutely wrecked in that last zone down there. So this day ejected somebody, probably of significant size too. So that's something you care about for later. So we watch this zone and see how the interaction is. We come back right in the heart of the zone. This is really like the core of the market maker's position. It's the center of the shockwave accumulation. This is where the point of control would be. So we watch this and, you know, mark a couple key positions. When you crash into that zone again off earnings, notice that's a zone that matters. Your first interaction stops dead on the base of our zone. Lands on the top, interacts, slams on the base, stop runs people on the outside of it, and comes back and puts more volume in the same place that we saw last time. So where are we at now? That's March 2016 we're running this. More volume there. That level will be important forever more to play trades out of. You'll have multiple swings that come out of it. It's narrowing again. Even more volumes going to the same place that I already marked. Let's see. This much I know. He leaves this area again on the outside of that. He's going to be able to pump off to either side of it. Just to make life simple, look at the gap he's got. You don't have to be a genius to figure this out. You let it clear. You can wait and then do something where you manage your risk to figure it out, right? Whenever you get the hell out of there. See? So this huge accumulation feeds the same accumulation. Now there's just a fuck ton of shit there, right? So now the range matters. Really simple to figure out your risk once it gets outside. You don't have to be a fucking hero. You can be patient. Just fucking wait. Patience is, patient people steal the money from really impatient people. Patient people don't make money. So you identify a range, give it its fucking fair time, figure out what the story is, figure out what would happen to people in here, know the range, know that people would shit a brick when he peeks his head out the bottom side of this thing. And you get back above this, people got aha twice in that zone and free money. So when he leaves this, even when he goes into his bullshit years later, that zone, that level I drew, the breakout, it's your low on what would be like, oh my god, nobody knows your Facebook's gonna stop, right? It's the low from the breakout. It's the breakout of 2016. That's where the low is. So understanding where the story is will give you meaningful levels by understanding who's getting fucked where. But you have to learn how to read this in a way like a storybook, What's going to happen in 2018 is going to be really dependent on what happened with it in the past because that's what's going to unfold out forward in time. But if you don't know how to read it, it's going to look like fucking, this looks crazy and random. It's not random at all. Everything has a logic, price has a memory, and when you look at it right like this, we just swam back, 2 years in time at random and read a book, and now we zoom back on time to a daily and we look and what did you pick from an hourly chart from 2 years ago? It's an earnings gap that ultimately got another shockwave in it, double loaded with volume. It's a significant place of interest. Price leaves and price returns to that area of control. That huge volume from 2 different quarters of earnings, isolates. Price and volume are all that matter. There's no indicator to figure this shit out as good as it is if you know how to read this like a book. So, reading this level up here in the purple and understanding that that's going to be a significant layer of interaction, why, what the psychology of people is going to be when they go through this little level here that I dotted out and screw the living shit out of everyone in volume box 1 and volume box 2, then where your interactions are going to be and where people are basically being ejected, and that's all markets are. Somebody bought low from somebody who sold at the wrong price. So this is just a story of people. And in it, there's only winners and losers. Nobody bullshit that Facebook should be taking over the planet that matters, or it's a good project, or any of that shit. Somebody's gonna lose, somebody's gonna win, and it's all about supply and demand and who's got a good idea that nobody else had when they had it. So hopefully that opens your eyes a little bit. I'm trying not to be really complicated in mechanics, more so just in concepts that I think everybody can relate to. And looking at that, really simplistic price structures and things, nothing I really teach anybody is really complicated. It's actually rather simple. And I think people let ego get in the way of simplicity. Instead of letting things be what they are, they try to force them to be something that makes them feel better about the description. But price goes up and down, it's red and green. That's the simplicity of this chart, why it's red and green. My son uses this, I use this. And it doesn't take a lot to figure it out, right? Buy it when it's fucking green and sell it when it's red, and don't fucking try to be a genius. Only one of those bars is going to change the direction. The statistical chance that you're going to find it is not really good. Does that help you guys? I'll tell you what, this mask is fucking choking me to death. I love it, it's killing me. Oh my ears. So, I lost track of where I was. Let's see. We lost the old caster there. This is so fucking hell. Yeah, you know what? People try to tear down the things you build more things. One thing we create, the few of us that do. Most people that don't understand what you create are going to be really, really hell-bent in breaking the things you don't understand. All that drives you to do is create better and bigger. So, fuel for the fire, here we are. We evolved to a speaking, communicating, system. I think they've helped force an evolution that was something that had to happen anyway. And ultimately the microblogging I considered inefficient, and here we are speaking in real time in a much more effective manner than you could ever pull off in microblogging. So is it really bad? Is it really good? It's a 1 or a 0, and right now, we were forced to move from the position that we're in because we are being attacked. At the end of the day, though, this is far better medium to me and you. So, necessity is a mother invention, and hell, I like this invention. Little Merman, sleep? You should know better than that question. Where the fuck are you? That Twitter call only ended like a little bit ago before we got into this game call. And we gotta go prep for opening session here in a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, probably got about a half hour more where I catch a nap and then get back up for US pre-market. Let's see. If everybody loved what you did, you wouldn't be doing anything of value. Unfortunately, the exact way that this is exactly how it needs to be for this to be something of value. If it was anything else, this wouldn't be worth shit. So, on one front, it seems to suck, but on the other front, it definitely defines the value argument exactly as it should be. They tried to cook Copernicus for saying that Earth was in the center, right? That fractal holds true in all systems. Everybody loves you, you're probably worthless. That's why we say value is scarce. What did you miss, Tolerance? Lucky for you, there's always replay. Price action is where history is. Yeah, winners and losers. ETZ, no problem. Easy done here so far. Yeah, I think this vocal communication thing is dope, right? This is better than going to the media. You can actually ask me and I'll tell you best I can. What else could we have? Direct conversation, not writing, not subject to your interpretation, not subject to what he might have meant. You can ask me directly. And there's utility here beyond anything. Time, right? The time it saves you to understand the concept here. Time is what's the most precious thing in life, and taking an hour versus 10 minutes to understand the same thing, that's invaluable to people. You never know when you're going to be done here, and every minute that you save on bullshit that you didn't need to waste time on is, priceless. So I believe that this medium is going to dominate all the others because it saves people time. And that's what everybody wants to do. Get things done for less time. That's efficiency. Yes, you missed everything, Talon. Shame on you. You and your sleep habits. What the fuck are you doing sleeping? Hate on me. You're welcome. Yeah, if you want to rewatch old stuff while it sits here, you have to subscribe. But if you show up live, you can just follow and watch. It's no rule that you do that. We are going to make a Twitch Discord for premium members. We want to get the voice aspect of the Twitter Discord tonight. We want that here. We want to be able to know people and have that relationship, because it's much easier to talk to people and help people and learn from that interaction on my end when I can hear your concerns in your voice and know what things are actually the biggest, problems. We solving those problems make us better at it. You wouldn't believe, no matter how long you do a thing, you can always get a refresher from people that are, at noob levels right there talking about something you forgot was an issue for you many times over, and get a refresher about it and help solve it. And in that way you evolve your own logic and understanding of it every single time you solve it. That's one of the main benefits of this particular habit, is that it keeps a person like me this long in it centered enough to not like get trite in my own understanding enough to sit there and think I don't have to go over it again. That is what brings people down, is what's the word, hubris, right? When you think that you're better than the habit itself. Accuracy is a part of touching all parts of the system. The system is comprised of humans at all levels, the ones that know, the ones that don't know, the ones that are geniuses, and the ones that aren't in the market. We talk to everybody, and that is a tapestry of price. It is the humans that we see on that graph. So as a behavioral specialist that deals in fractals, I have to talk to people if I hope to maintain any kind of reasonable accuracy dealing with humans. In teaching this logic and this idea, it only, every repetition gives me one more time shooting a free throw. You think about what makes Steph Curry a great three-point shooter. For those of you who don't know, in America there's a really great three-point shooter named Steph Curry in the Golden State Warriors, and a guy shoots 10,000 free throws or does anything 10,000 times will make a habit mechanical. If I explain this logic and the ideas behind the rule of the atom, the rules of motion, binary fractals, and I do that tens of thousands of times, I have that much of a lead on myself and anybody else who's trying to understand it at that nuanced level. So this is the habit of repetition that ingrains an idea to the point that I can think about it seamlessly the way I do in calls and analyze things in real time and be right as much as I can hope for in real time at assessing the information without leaving things out that are pertinent to actually reading it right. You are a creature of habit, right? This is mine. So people steal. You can't steal a habit, that's one thing. You can steal a chart. To understand the chart the way we do, you have to understand the habits that go with it and understand charts from the perspective that I'm speaking to, for understanding people. Anybody coming in to steal this idea already doesn't value it enough to understand it to begin with. So don't worry about those guys. There's tons of guys that have a crash cycle chart, and every one of them with it couldn't tell you where LTC winter would begin or where the gold cycle would end. Having my charts and having what you think is my logic without the understanding behind it is meaningless. I don't give a shit. That's why I can do it in broad daylight. You can't duplicate accuracy. You can fake it as much as you want, but the empirical data supports no one else in crypto understanding where the fuck this was going for the last 4 years. And that's just a reality. That's not ego. That's stating facts. Everything in the universe is simple, stat magnets. It's simple. People make things complicated. Listen to your kids talk. Up, down, and why. They just ask, what things are doing and yes and no. And that's what the universe actually is. Everything else you layered onto it as adults, horse shit that we like to put on there and make ourselves sound more important. But if you haven't watched Crypto Twitter, they're nothing more than grown fractal children. They're not any different. The same things that motivate them. Whether it's, being a bitch because you got a newer video game or being a bitch because you got a newer car. It's just the same kind of bullshit. Same underlying fundamental drives children, drives adults, nothing different. It's different this time. Just like markets, right? Small crash cycle, large crash cycle. The only thing different is the number of participants. Small child, big child. There's nothing there that's any different. Structurally, it's identical. Times, can we schedule in the future so I can wake up? Man, that's some egocentric shit. No, we can't schedule, motherfucker. Chance and opportunity wait for no man. You better react when you see it. I'm all about, things finding you in the time you're supposed to. Everybody gets here when it's supposed to. Everybody figures out this is worth something when it's supposed to. There's no getting it earlier. But I definitely I'm not on your schedule. I'll hang out here with 5 people. I hang out here with 50 people. At the end of the day, anybody that's interested in learning a new thing with me, I'm totally interested. But yeah, it's 5 a.m. on my end. You want me to make this convenient for you? I'll have to make it convenient for everybody else around the planet. We do what we do when we do, and there's no late. All things find you when they're supposed to, man. When you're nice and settled and you can pay attention, that's the day it's going to mean something to you. So don't worry about it. You never miss out on anything. Everyone thinks that they miss this one day, they miss the world. There's always another train leaving the station in markets and life. You're never missing anything, man, unless you believe that shit. I don't worry about that at all. Set your alert, homie. Come join us when you feel like it. So, hope that little chart we gave you guys some ideas. You know, think about charts in a different way. Think about like a story people. Look at it and say, what the fuck happened to them there? I wonder. See how well you can decipher the, you know, the narrative of what went on. Sydney, 9 p.m. Oh Jesus, you're like in fucking tomorrow already. For me, it is getting late. I'm gonna have to go ahead and get ready to get some kind of amount of rest so I can get morning prep done and deal with parental issues. But I think what we did today with Twitter and infusing that into a conversational format is just leaps and bounds better than what exists, and it's absolutely the way things are going to go. Younger people aren't going to have to struggle to kind of create that dynamic. It's going to be natural to them, and I think, you know, as older people, you better figure it out before the next generation steals your thunder in every regard. I personally enjoyed it a lot, learned a lot, had a really awesome blockchain conversation with somebody I've never met before on Twitter. And all of us, you know, shared really interesting perspectives in there, and got to hear what each other sounds like for a change and stop assuming the worst about one another, which is what crypto Twitter promotes. It's what blogging promotes, it's what texting your ex promotes, right? You always think it's the worst. At least in this world, we can hear tone inflections and voice and emotional information that lets us know where we all stand, and I think that's the key to communication. That's the way humans, you know, one of the big advantages of other animals is the ability to communicate, until we took technology and made sure we didn't do a good job of it. I think that nonsense is leaving the system and we're going back the other way, and we can create really awesome value-added ecosystems that are built on really strong communication. And that's what we have a chance to do in Twitch and Discord and Twitter. So that is the environment we hope to create. Dude, that was an awesome, that blockchain. Yeah, that was a great convo, man. I learned shit, you know, I'm not the authority on blockchain tech or its implementations. I have some nuanced understandings of certain applications, but it was nice to hear some of what he was talking about. He thought, you know, he was enthusiastic about doing with it. Ultimately, people with that kind of passion who are going to come up with the ideas that do take hold as the thousands of ideas that are going to go down the drain. There's going to be somebody with that kind of passion that solves part of a puzzle, that blockchain is going to be the utility that adds value, that's going to make it worth something. As far as tokenizing everything, I think that a lot of people are looking to figure out how to add a token to things that don't need it, and the blockchain utility itself is going to facilitate something, you know, like in Visa cards and things like that, maybe cost-cutting, cost benefits that make a trillion-dollar system more valuable. As to whether or not the protocol and what's the word I'm looking for? The upgrade using it is requiring a token every time somebody makes it. I don't think so. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how to make things that constantly have a token, and they want to capitalize in that regard. I think blockchain added to existing systems and making them more efficient is probably where it's going to find real value added function, not in the tokenized economy, you know, outside of things like Decentraland and virtual economies that need a tokenized architecture. Tokenized real estate, things like that might be interested. Tokenized space cash out there into asteroid land. I think we're talking about that in Discord earlier, and I think that, you know, and finding rocks full of ore and valuable assets that you can't necessarily, you know, mobilize and bring back to Earth effectively, you know, that will be a tokenized economy in space cash. I think it makes sense to move value to blockchain in vast distances versus, you know, transferring things across trillions of miles. It's ridiculous. Ultimately, space cash should probably support the development of mankind out in the asteroid belt on both sides of it, Jupiter and Mars, and, you know, floating space stations, and these places will be able to stand on their own, and people won't be coming back home from those places. There'll be, you know, colonies that exist on their own 2 feet. So that's a whole another bull market that's going to last, you know, well past the end of our lives when it begins. I mean, it's going to begin with a bang, and probably 2030s you're going to have your biggest correction in it. And after the major correction of the 2030s, you know, the planet will slowly become the territory of China, and it will be a new bull market and a new changing of the guard down here as the West escapes into space to try and colonize the solar system and escape China's colonization of Earth. But that's going to unfold in a time frame that I won't see much of, but it should be pretty interesting. I'll try to leave something out there for you guys. Dr. D, what do you got? Issues? Choose $20 mostly these devs start project and go how do I yeah, there are too many devs that do start the project with how do I get to pump my coin, and if that is the goal that you're building the coin around, it's going to be flawed in any kind of real utility. When people actually have the goal of solving a problem, you know, all the pieces kind of fall into place. But when the goal is how do I capitalize on this, it's kind of like markets. You know, the puzzles that we solve in the market, if this was about money, nobody would stare at this shit long enough to figure out the nuanced details we have about price and human behavior and fractal dynamics in markets. That shit's way past the point of money. That is just a love for solving puzzles. Most things that are solved out there about people with a passion for a thing that goes far beyond money, it's just a thing that they love, and they can manifest almost anything when they've got the right focus. When it's about how do I make this coin make me money, and you have to build something of real value and utility around that, the thing you're going to focus on is how to make you money, not building value and utility. So I think looking at, you know, the devs out there, the majority of the devs are operating on a greed standpoint of how to figure out how to get rich quick and not how to deliver something that's going to be a benefit to the greatest body of people, and by that metric dominate the marketplace that they occupy. There are some people who are working like that, and there are a great many who are not. And somebody's asking, how do you know what the shit is out there? You know, look at what you can read a lot of people's intentions. A lot of crypto Twitter, you know, most of their intentions is to pump followers and basically show coins and make money off of the people that follow them. It is not to be objectively competent about the market they're in. That's not their endeavor. You know, I'm an analyst, and long before crypto existed, I was public about my research and wanting to be the person that was accurate enough that if I ever was on television, I wouldn't miss if given that opportunity. Because when I was in school, that's what I used to watch. I couldn't believe those guys would get on there and as if you have your one shot, and this was just terrible. So when we get my shot, if that ever came, I didn't want to be the guy that got there and made an ass of himself with my one chance. You know, it's like Eminem's 8 Mile. The guys in crypto Twitter aren't that. That's not what their focus is, and that's not their passion, and that's fine, you know, but you have to understand who's who. I may dress like a clown, but I do that because I don't give a flying fuck. My charts don't need to come out of my fucking dress code. They come out of fucking, you know, my computer, and they either work or they don't. It can come out of my kid's computer. Who gives a shit? Up is up, down is down. You make your trades based on my mask, then you might as well have brain damage, you know, and if that's the way you make your decisions, you're probably not doing very well in any other aspect of your life. So, behavior is fractal. Make dumb decisions in one market, you probably make them in all markets. That's just the way human behavior is. Mask is an easy way to filter out stupid people, you know. Look at the $1 trillion call and ask me about my mask, you know what side of the equation you go on. So, you know, have a goal in mind that's bigger than money. Do something you actually like. You'd be surprised how much better you are at it. And looking at that fucking Facebook chart, that can absolutely go and crash that zone. Pretty scary the way he's coming down. Facebook winner. So for any of you guys that are in Twitter Discord, there's a link over there on Winter's wall. Join that. We'll have some convos, and they'll come visit us sometimes. And you know, we can't obviously have the whole army, but yeah, I couldn't see shit in the other. I can see, but yeah, appreciate it. So if you guys are good, I'm probably gonna wrap it up. It's 5:30. Like I said, I'm gonna jump off. Yeah, Discord was fucking lit tonight. Definitely had a good time. It was better than I even imagined it would. It was definitely a pleasure to speak with people in voice that you couldn't figure out what the person was behind the avatar. This is going to continue to evolve. We want to have, you know, the most valuable community in the world. I believe that mainstream media has got the ability to mislead people because people have let truth become, slip away as the authority and let authority replace it as the truth, and the media makes a mockery of it. They have the ability to tell people nonsense, and simply because they've been conditioned to think the TV tells them the truth, they can say whatever. There needs to be an intelligence revolution where people can look at empirical data and say that shit on there is just not making sense, and ultimately if it keeps punching in the face, you learn to turn it off. In the end, money talks, bullshit walks. I think a community that it makes better decisions and adds value in everything they do is something that anybody can appreciate and understand. And if we center that here, I'll do my best to provide actual objective things and thoughts and logics, not specific to this market. It's just common sense, which is ultimately what you need in dealing with people. And if you have common sense in dealing with people, and markets are people, you're going to have common sense in markets. So you can't have that behavior in one place and not the other. And that's the primary thing we focus on, is how to think about information. How not to let your mind be drawn away into fantasy land, and how to deal with things in the most logical, non-emotional fashion as possible. We want this community to be the #1 community in all regards. And I think that's what's going to take to change the CNBCs of the world that are out there marketing garbage to people and damaging people and manipulating information, as they did with Kazo's information. Instead of presenting it, they basically held it hostage and marketed to other people. It's time to remove that mechanism between people and objective reality. I think people are getting sick of being lied to by fake news. Even Trump has marketed that so well. I think people are sick of it. I think it's time for people to have the access to go to the person they want to ask the question to and ask them and get an answer that they can deal with and accept it or throw away. But I definitely think it's time to get rid of the buffers that are between us and the actual conversation. No worries, Becker, man. I said today, well, you and I and Nebula Rec will have a convo. We'll catch up with you guys in mid-session or something. You're welcome, Coffee Addict. Allegory of the Cave. If you go to Kaz's Insta, Allegory of the Cave art, that thing means so much in so many regards. Definitely take a look at that one. Remember that thought we talked about describing, dimensional space, a dimension above the observer, and the allegory of the cave, that 2D shadow in the cave wall that comes from a light source of fire casted off a 3-dimensional object. We're always living on next to no information, and you're a dimension away from value. It's an interesting analogy to the allegory of the cave. Definitely one of my favorites. No worries, Thomas. What up, Peanut? Your comic is epic. Have you guys seen that crazy comic that was done? That's Peanut right there. Working to fight down the demons in social and keep pushing forward with our value-added channel and Nebula Network project. We like doing what we do. We know most people out there aren't necessarily good at heart, but the garbage in the system is well counterbalanced by the value that's in there. So we never know who's who, and we try to put a light on for anybody that does perceive the value in this. Most people won't. But for the few of you that have found themselves here and find yourselves here at odd hours of the morning, we appreciate your patronage. It's pretty cool. It's been pretty rocky out there to maintain our track record and stay on top of the markets and stay accurate and provide valuable information for the people that follow us with all the distractions. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And you can't kill an idea, so we aren't going anywhere. They can keep trying that shit. We'll just get better. So in the end, man, if you do anything of value, people should be trying to destroy you. It may seem wrong, but wrong and right are illusions. At the end of the day, you're either valuable, you're the empty space in the atom, and I'd rather be in the center of the war than fucking out there in the bleachers looking at it from the sidelines. My favorite comic book writer? There's probably, I was a Silver Surfer fan. I have 1 through 100. The writer who started writing that one, the latter halves of it, and the artist are my favorite in that time period. I'm a little kid then, so I don't remember the names. artist I like, Todd McFarlane. I liked him in Hulk, and I like the artist that drew the 50 series through the end of Surfer, the guy who really knew how to make him, you know, silver metallic looking. But don't know as far as writers. I was a kid, man. I'm an 80s kid collecting comics. No problem, Corey B. I'm never standing still. People are always trying to take up what we were, steal the ideas we had. They all got really used to that greed cycle, crash cycle, didn't they? Those motherfuckers never heard of the gold cycle until now. Oops. Yeah. Value's scarce. You can wave that shit around, pretend you came up with it, until you run into another version of it and realize you've never seen that shit. And now they'll run around the gold cycle waiting to figure out where that's at. Funny shit. We do this in public and not one of them can call the market, and they've had all of the information we put public for years. You can't duplicate accuracy. A lot of frauds. Just look at result. Guy could look as weird as anything. Does his argument hold water? That's the only thing you give a fuck about. Don't be judgmental. Don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be judged for the way they look. You don't want that shit. Don't do it to other people. The only reason you can't look at what we put out there is because we don't dress like the way you're conditioned to believe. You've got problems, not us. So, common sense. You wouldn't believe how not common that shit is. We're gonna wrap it up. Dr. D, you're on the other side of the planet, so you've got your sleep. I'll catch you in channel here in a couple hours. Markets are moving overnight. Watch this after PBT squeeze. You know, we might see a reprice here today, but we'll take a look at a few things before we get to session. For the rest of you dudes, if you can, if you want, join the Twitter. Be back here. We're gonna be back on here this week, and we're gonna have some fun in 2019. We're gonna sew this community up and make this like the place to be, and hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we can help you advance your logic and understanding of a lot of things. Nebula Project Network with the VR drone racing and other stations coming online is going to be fucking awesome. So, and you guys got Oculus, definitely show up. We're going to do a video and we're going to jump through stations and start checking out some of the stuff the guys are doing. We'll jump over and check out Matt over in VR drone racing probably tomorrow or the day after when he's back on the race circuit. And we have a gamer coming in that's going to do some badass shit too. So learn about markets, play with some of the new tech coming along. We're going to be, you know, having a lot of fun while we learn it. We also have a Burger who's going to come in and show you guys some cool coding. We're going to dismantle some indicators and rebuild them here for you on show. And so you guys understand like indicators the way you should understand price. You should know it through and through. Yeah, the drone shit was dope, bro. That shit was hot. Dr. D, the Discord link, put in there. It'll go out on Twitter, and then this is Twitch. Twitch is actually going to get its own Discord. So this room, for anybody who's in here, we're going to figure that out. It's probably not going to be everybody in the channel because it becomes a clusterfuck, but we're going to figure out how to set that up, and then we'll announce it the next one. It had 100 peeps limit is what it had, so if it's expired, we'll thread another one under it and drop it back out there. So we'll drop it until everybody that's there on the Twitter or here, and we want to create an ecosystem everybody that came. That's going to be a public Discord for the people that we obviously, you know, trust to deal with, and we're going to have fun there and here, man, and try to make a community of people that all get to know each other. I think this would be awesome. We can build some awesome global relationships here once we can hear each other. And I think it's going to get better as we increase our communication in both directions. So you guys have fun. Hope you learned something. Got my ass kicked a little bit over Marvel by Henry. I'm going to have to fucking regulate this dude and get him in Nebula. It's all good. I'm onto his cheese and shit right now. He's going to catch an ass with the next time I come back. I'm prepared for this shit. But yeah, you guys, I gotta catch some rest. Definitely been a long run since the Discord to Twitter. I think we've been going probably almost 12 straight hours, right? When did that call start over there? I think it started like 7 or 8. That's about 10 hour straight run. So almost a fucking console call from Nebula. Go figure. Don't know how it always goes that long. Yep, no trolling, no nasty stuff. We don't do that on Twitter. Inside our channels, everybody's just trying to do better. And you guys Like I said, you don't compete with anybody in the channel. Don't make it about between you and anybody. Just do better than yourself yesterday, and you'd be surprised in a year how far you'll get. So, thanks for coming through. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for surviving all the nonsense that goes on out there in the social sphere. We're going to try to clean that up over here. So, talk to you again soon. What are you doing, boy?